Pulling my seated guard, he steps in. I'm going to cut the corner and turn. So I'm trying to get perpendicular to him, and I'm hugging deep with this arm. When I do, I'm reaching for this far leg, and I'm grabbing behind and dropping my forearm to the mat. From here, I'm going to start driving as I come to my knees, and my goal is to put my head on the inside of his knee to push his knee outside of his ankle. And take him down. All right? So again, right here, he steps in, cut the corner, grab that far leg at the same time, head to the center, and we come up. All right? So that's option one. Option two, he steps in, I cut, I go to reach, he steps away. So from here, I'm going to plant my right hand, my left foot. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to use my right leg to pick his leg up off the ground. So I pull, get him right to our trip, and get the takedown. All right? Time on that, he steps in, go to reach, hit it, up, catch, takedown. All right? Let's start with that. 3, 2, 1. This time he's standing. So this time, instead of approaching me with his legs first, where I can start getting control, yeah, he's coming in with his hands first, right? So when he starts coming in with his hands, I want to deal with his grips because he's going to be looking to grab my arms, grab my leg. Whatever he grabs, I'm re-grabbing. I'm looking to peel, and I'm looking to get head control. Once I get this head control, the same side that I have head control on, I'm going to reach and grab his ankle. Right? And from here, I'm driving, coming to my knees, and pulling. I'm going to get the ankle pick. Right? I'm going to come right in. Right? Swing in. So we're here, he's staying outside. He's like, I know you're a leg locker. I don't want to get in you too close. Grab the head, pull the leg, get our pass, right? Make sure when you get to this spot, once I get the head control, if I grab this leg and I pull him, I'm going to end up right inside his guard. All right? He's just going to pull me in. Now, yeah, so now I've got to deal with passing his guard or getting attacked, and he might go after the arm bar or whatever right away. Right? So I always reach. I always want the leg on the same side I have the collar tie. That way when I pull it across. And it allows me to pass right away. Make sense? Cool. Let's hit it. 3, 2, 1. Alright? As I circle and come up, I'm keeping this pressure on his head. And I just put my hand on the mat right behind his heel. Halfway up his calf or his knee. My hand goes all the way to the mat. I want to get all the way to the end of the lever, right? Put your weight in this leg, don't let me pull it. Right? If I try to pull his knee, right, that's all I can do is off balance him a little bit. If I pull him at his calf, his leg still doesn't move. I drop it to the mat. Make sense? I got to get all the way to the mat to slide that foot out, right? So if you notice, I didn't even need the collar tie, right? So if I do this right, the collar tie just keeps his posture broken. But if I get here and he busts out of my collar tie, I still have the ankle pick if I do it right. If you're too high, then you're not going to get it even with the collar tie. Make sense? All right, let's keep going. 3, 2, 1. So, before I get it,
yeah, they step back. Okay, switch over.
All right. Cool. So, in fact, what we're going to do right now, go ahead and stand for me, is we're just going to do this. He's just going to be like circling out in front of me, and going back and forth, and I'm just waiting until I can pick an ankle. Right? I want to get you guys good at grabbing right at the base of that ankle and pulling. Because if you grab too high, it's not going to work, right? So just watch them, because you'll get people to do this because they're afraid to enter your guard. And so we'll just stay out here and they're looking for an opportunity. They're looking to grab and pull. For the person falling, right? When they grab and they snatch that, don't do this. Oh, you can break your arm, right?
Go with it.
Go with it, right? He pulls.
So bad.
Right, it's just like a single leg squat. Tuck, roll, land on the back of your shoulder. Do not put your hand down to break your fall, because something will break, and it will be your arm.
And then you'll fall.
And then you'll fall. So, all right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Hopping, right? So I can come up, get 2 hands on, come into my takedown like we were doing before. Right? I can pick it up, you can start trying to turn and run away. So I get 2 hands on, come up, take the back, get my takedown, right? Or if he stays here just long enough, I go right into my leg kick. Make sense? Let's play with it. 3, 2, 1. For those of you who can't do them in competition, it's still good to know, because eventually you'll have to deal with them either doing them or being attacked by them. And I don't want the first time that you ever see a heel hook for it to be on you in a competition and you don't know what's happening, because that's how you get your leg broke. So we're going to start just with the concept of an outside heel hook. Is this the bad angle? This one. Okay. So it is now. So when I'm doing an outside heel hook, the biggest thing that's most important for me is to get the bottom of his foot against the inside of my bicep. Right? This is where I want his foot, like this. And the reason is once I get that connection and I connect here, try to slip your heel. He's stuck. Right? If I just turn this just a little bit and I connect to his heel, slip the heel, he can get out. Alright? So, the most important thing, what kind of grip you use doesn't matter at all. What matters is getting this turned so that you can think of it as either the laces against your ribs or the bottom of his foot against the inside of your bicep. Whatever makes more sense to you, right? And I'm pinching this in on that bottom of that foot and I'm holding here. That gives me my connection, right? Yeah. Right? So once I have that, now the finishing mechanics is just getting my legs in place to where I can put pressure into his knee. Right? So I can do this in a lot of different positions. We'll just do it from Ashi right now. Right? So we're in here in this Ashi position. I've got that position here. I'm just going to tuck my elbow towards my hip. I'm right here, and even with one hand, I can finish. Right? With 2, it gets worse. Right? So I'm just locking that in place. I am not twisting to get the finish. If I start twisting, I can slide off his heel, especially if we're both sweaty. Right? So when I get that and I get that in position, I'm pinning his heel to the mat, and I'm just pulling this hand towards my face to keep his ankle locked. Right? He's gonna feel it either here or here first. I don't care. A tap's a tap. I don't care which one he taps to. Doesn't bother me one way or the other. Oh, that was an ankle. Cool. I don't really care. It's gonna depend on what's tighter on him as to what he taps to. Right? But the pressure comes from my hips, just like finishing an arm bar. Right? I'm pinching my knees, pushing my hips forward, and I get the finish. Make sense? So we're going to play with that first, and then we'll come back and talk about the inside heel hook, which is much easier and you can be lazier with. All right, let's hit it. 3, 2, 1. So we get to Ashi, and he straightens his leg real hard, right? So I can't bend his knee to do this. The way I do it is I attack the ankle.
Oh.
And
So you go from top to toes and push it.
Yep.
Okay.
Now I can go up and get at my bike. Right? And now I'm in.
If you get that, this is done anyways, I can feel
Yeah, you can straighten it as much as you want here. I'm still gonna finish. Right? Because you won't be able to lock your knee out now.
Right. Okay.
Right? With that bend. So all I'm doing, right, is straightening your leg, keep it straight, is that I'm grabbing his toes, I'm pushing down and in, and watch what happens.
Oh.
Right? He doesn't have the strength in his system. Once I turn this in, to keep his knee straight. Right? I'm breaking down all of that structure. Doesn't take much of anything to do a lot. Right? So when my legs are in the right position, right? Because this leg is already under his knee, helping it bend. Right? So when he's straightening it like that, I keep control here and I just push that in. Now I grab the heel and come under. Now I can finish. Right? Any other questions on that heel hook?
This is kind of on top. Do you ever have people in your machine, they pull this foot out, they counter you?
So show me what you're talking about.
Like, if you're Oshin, right? Do you ever have someone like pull this out? And, like,
They'll try.
Yeah.
Hashtag shout out to Alex.
Right, so let's do this.
We're not trying to learn how to defend that.
No, we need to.
Everybody's over here, right? All right, so yeah. So this is why, we didn't get into leg position yet, but my leg position is important too. Because if I'm lazy with my legs, one, like he can just push his foot off the hip if I'm not doing what I need to do, and now I lose control of the hip and I don't have a heel hook either, right? If I'm lazy with this foot, he can just pull it and start reversing and attacking, right? So what I do is I take my right foot is under his hip and I'm putting the boot on, right? I'm like this with my foot, not like this, right? And I'm hooking his hip. So now when he tries to go dig that out,
He just exposes his own leg.
yeah, right? And it also puts me in the perfect position where now my knee covers my ankle. So now it makes it hard for him to push the foot off the hip, right? And he can still reach my toes, so he'll try. And as he goes to push that, I just turn and drive my knee to the mat. And look what it does for me. It exposes his heel, all right? And then I'm right back in for my finish. Right? So yeah, so my leg position is super important. So we'll just finish with this. We won't worry about the inside heel hook. So my right foot, if I'm attacking his right leg, is hooked under his hip and I'm connected to it, so I have control over his hip. The other thing that does for me is say he was trying to like roll out, I'm connected to his hips. Right? Yeah, go ahead and throw that leg go. So he just takes me with him. Right? If I'm connected to this leg, he can spin this leg and he can start to release his knee line and start to work his way out. But when I connect to his far hip and I'm connected to his near hip, now him turning his hips turns my hips.
Oh, hell no. Yeah, tap. No.
Right? So I don't have to do any work. He does all the work, right? So, so this position, when I'm here, I want my thigh under his knee. If my thigh is under his knee, that means my hip bone is lined up with the inside of his knee. So when I go to hip in, it's the perfect line of drive to break his leg, right? So this foot's hugging this hip. This thigh's under his knee, my foot's on his hip. It's not pushing, it's curling.
Oh. Sorry, Angela, wherever you were.
The worst thing I can do is lose his knee line. That's what he's trying to do, is get his knee below my hips. If I push him, I'm pushing him to the escape. Right? So I'm pulling with that leg. So I'm pulling everything in, right? So this foot's hooking and pulling, this foot's hooking and pulling, I'm covering my ankle. I have all of this in position now. My hip is lined up with his knee. So when I pick this up and I get to my position, the heel hook is easy. So play with getting your legs in position and then add the heel hook back in, right? So one more time, this foot is under his hip, hooking. This foot's on top, hook pulling in. My knee covers my ankle. I have all this tight, so I have his leg locked, right? He starts to push on my foot, I just drive my knee to the mat. Now he can't peel it off my foot. It exposes his heel for me. And we finish. Right? He starts trying to grab this foot. It's really hard because I'm not being lazy with it, right? Let's do it. 3, 2, 1.